Hello and welcome to the agenda. I am Ajay Kaul. In this program today, we will be discussing about the announcement of ban on import of over 100 defense items in a bid to boost domestic defense production. The Defense Ministry has prepared a list of 101 military items whose import would be prohibited in a progressive manner from 2020 to 2024. The announcement has been made by Defense Minister Rajnath Singh, who said the decision has been taken to give a push to self-reliance in the defense sector. The list includes all kinds of military systems, including light combat aircraft, missiles, rocket launchers, and rifles. What does this hugely significant decision mean? Does India have the required capabilities to manufacture all such equipment at home? We will analyze this in the agenda today with our two experts, retired Brigadier Vinod Datta and DRDO's former Director Public Interface Mr. Ravi Kumar Gupta. But before we begin the conversation, let us have a look at this small report.
Aiming to give a big push to self-reliance in the defense sector, the government has announced sweeping changes in the procurement policy of weapons system with regards to imports. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh had said that the Defense Ministry has prepared a list of 101 items whose import would be banned in a progressive manner from 2020 to 2024. The list includes various kinds of military systems, including light combat aircraft, light transport aircraft, basic trainer aircraft, artillery guns, missiles, destroyer, shipborne, cruise missiles, long-range land attack cruise missiles, communication satellites, multi-barrel rocket launchers, a variety of radars, assault rifles, sniper rifles, mini UAVs, and different types of ammunition. The list will be reviewed every year and additions can be made after consultations with the stakeholder, the government said. MOD will place order worth Rs 4 lakh crore with the domestic industry over the next 5 to 7 years by cutting down on these imports. The move offers a great opportunity to the Indian industry to manufacture items on the negative list by using its own capabilities or adopting the technologies designed by the DRDO. Any item on the negative list can now only be sourced from the domestic industry. Most of the items on the embargo list are also already being produced by the public sector units or the private industry. The embargo would be implemented in phases. Among the big orders for the domestic industry will be submarines, which would come under the import embargo by December 2021. A contract of 6 of this would be worth about Rs 42,000 crore. The likely embargo date for the LCA Mk1A is December 2020. An order of 123 of this for the IAF with approximate cost of Rs 85,000 crore will now go to domestic players. The embargo on imports will be progressively implemented from 2020 to 2024. The Indian defense industry can either have its own design or adopt the technologies designed and developed by the Defense Research and Development Organization. The list was finalized by the MOD after several rounds of consultations with all stakeholders, including Army, Air Force, Navy, DRDO, Defense, Public Sector Undertaking, Ordnance Factory Board, and the private industry. They assessed the current and the future capabilities of the Indian industry for manufacturing. The MOD has bifurcated the capital procurement budget for 2020-21 into domestic and foreign routes. A separate budget head has been created with an outlay of Rs 52,000 crore for domestic capital procurement. It is now to be seen how much of it can be implemented practically. Bureau Report.
So we are joined by Mr. Gupta and Brigadier Datta. My first question is to Mr. Gupta. Mr. Gupta, how do you see this announcement by the Defense Minister yesterday?
See, I'm not very excited when I look at the list and the way it has been put up. I don't understand what is the fun in announcing the dates, which are 1, 2, 3 or 4 years ahead of time. What does it mean? Are we going to continue to import these items till then? Is it a signal to the import lobby to continue importing at full thrust so that because after a few years we are going to ban it? Or it is a signal to the suppliers, the arms sellers, so that they can put maximum push and sell maximum of their arms? So I really don't understand why, what is the fun in announcing a long list and saying that we will be banning them after 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years. Besides, there is a large number of items which have been mentioned by specific name. Take, for example, the LCA Mark 1. Now, LCA Mark 1A, that means that are we going to continue to import other aircraft, combat aircraft, which are coming by different names, a Gripen or something else? So these are the questions which have to be answered. Yes, in case genuinely this are banned, imports are stopped, this is going to give a big push to Indian economy. It is going to give big push to the jobs for the youth. As our Prime Minister has said, there are 5 pillars of Atmanirbhar Bharat. So all the 5 should be strengthened. But if it is just another kind of a song which we have been hearing for last 72 years, sometime by the name of self-reliance, sometime by some other name, but end result remains the same, that India continue to remain world's largest importer of arms, I think I can't say anything about it.
So let me ask the same question to Brigadier Datta. Brigadier Datta, Mr. Ravi Gupta raised some questions. Do you have answers to those?
Yeah, I agree with him on a number of accounts. Firstly, India has already taken large number of steps, but they have just given it as a broad brush. If you go back in 90s, Defense Expo, these exhibitions were held where the manufacturers were invited, but sweet little was achieved. We always are, consequential. Now, since there is a face-off, there is a tension on LAC, that's why these announcements are coming. We have, say, about 41 ordnance factories and 51 labs which are there. What India should do is that we must have timelines for all these projects. There is no dearth of money as such. There is no dearth of resources. And the whopping amount which India is spending on import of these items, if you just go back, you will realize that, we followed the Warsaw Pact countries. There were 2 blocks which were there, the NATO and the Warsaw. And we went to the Warsaw Pact countries because firstly, the equipment was cheaper, the equipment was sturdier, and equipment was also made or customized to Indian conditions so that it cost you less. But unfortunately, you see, nothing was done to make India self-reliant. If you take the case of a rifle, I mean, we are in 2020, we have not been able to make a small arm system. We have not been able to make, battalion support weapons. You leave aside guns. Whereas on the other side, if you see that we have made such a huge, progress in space technology that the entire world is looking at us. So this lopsided approach of the nation has to be, it has to be flattened, and all areas have to be addressed. The 101 items list which is been released, though it covers all the major weaponries, simulators, and various other platforms, but it has to be categorized under 3 categories: the short term, the long term, and the strategic blueprint should be there, because the amount of money which we are spending on exports, it is unpardonable for a country which is still struggling to look up.
So let me turn to Mr. Gupta. Mr. Gupta, Brigadier Datta says there is no dearth of money. There is a lot of money available. And even yesterday, the defense minister said 52,000 crore will be earmarked specially for these things. But do you tell me one thing? Can we be really self-sufficient or self-reliant, particularly if we had to manufacture combat aircraft or maybe 155 howitzers? Since you have worked with DRDO, maybe you can shed some light on it.
First of all, I will like to highlight one very important aspect. Whether it is self-reliance in terms of defense equipment or any other industrial item or agricultural item. I tell you, in the entire world, our country is among very, very few nations which have got everything what we need. Every kind of resource is available, whether it is human resource, the human mind, whether it is the material resources. Today we have everything available to us. What is lacking is an honest system. So unless we rectify our system, nothing is going to change. All these resources, our human resource, material resource, everything was available right from the day one since the independence, when we gained control on our resources. But what are we doing? 1948, the import of jeep started, and it triggered such a kind of a nasty disease, what I call as importomania. The people simply go on importing, and somehow now the vested interests start sabotaging the internal, our own capability. I can give you a number of examples when our own capabilities have been systematically killed. Take, for example, 105 mm, the field gun. It was developed during 1960s and 70s. Early 70s, the production had started. The gun, 105 mm gun, which is called IFG, is still being used in vital services, and it is considered one of the best guns. The last conflict was Kargil gun.
I think it's a key armament on the LOC, if I am not wrong.
Yeah. So thing is that even when the Kargil war took place, more number of rounds were fired from 105 mm gun rather than the Bofors gun. But nobody praised our own gun. Now what should have happened? Any other country having developed that much expertise or having developed 105 mm gun, when the higher version was required, you would have gone for developing the indigenous gun. No, we went for import. Next 20 years, there is no demand. When there is no demand, who will develop for you? The expertise which was developed, that was systematically eliminated. Now, again, the same story is being repeated. Our ATAGS, that Advanced Road Artillery Gun System, one of the best in the world, it has set world records. Now, so many years we are testing it. Go on testing till it becomes obsolete. And in the meantime, you go on importing. Even now, we are saying that we will be banning this kind of item after 2-3 years. What does it mean? Are we going to import in next 2 years? And import in sufficient quantities so that next 10 years you don't have to import. So once again, kill the demand. So this is my point of view. We have every resource which is required. All the 101 items, you pick up any item for which we don't have capability. Many of the items are such which are already developed. They are already waiting for supply order. Now, if a system takes 10 years to give a supply order, what do you expect?
Okay, let me ask Brigadier Datta. Brigadier Datta, as Mr. Gupta pointed out, that we have the capabilities even to manufacture 155 mm guns, but the government maybe did not give too much importance to the domestic manufacturing and resorted to imports. What do you say, since you have also fought in Kargil?
Can you repeat the question? I couldn't hear it.
My question is, as Mr. Gupta said, that after 105 mm was developed indigenously, 155 mm could also be manufactured, but government went for imports, so did not pay attention maybe for domestic manufacturing.
No, I agree with him. You see, we have the capabilities, like he had mentioned about 105 Indian field gun and the LFG, the light field gun. They are very capable weapon systems. And unfortunately, what happens is the time taken by the government or the people who are sitting in the South Bloc is so much that we are not able to justify the weapon system. The qualitative requirements then change. You see, warfare is a very, very dynamic field. It is changing with technology every day. So if you're going to take 10 years, to put that weapon system on a test bed, I'm sure you're going to be left behind, and there are better options available in the world. Secondly, you see, even the DRDO, they should also stick to the timelines. What happens is there are slippages in terms of time. There are slippages in terms of the quality which is being rendered. Like you take the case of, the tank, the main battle tank. The LCA project, if you see, it started in 1980. It was renamed Tejas. You see, for 123 aircrafts, it's a 60,000 crore project. So, and if you see Rafale, of course, there's no comparison between the avionics of both the aircrafts. But if you can get 123 aircrafts and 60,000 crores vis-a-vis what you are getting, 36 Rafales, what we require is that firstly, we must make our numerical strength, we must complete that. We must, plug those voids. What we need is that there is no dearth of, human brain. There is no dearth of scientists. The nationalism has to be, drilled into every Indian's mind so that they can work on given timelines and we can produce a weapon system. The main battle tank is still struggling with, a lot of heating problems and various other things. So if we have to be something like a regional power or a superpower, we have to increase the home production. And you see, in 2013-14, we had segregated 45,000 crores for defense production, and in 2017, a very considerable jump has been given of say about 70,000 crores. So there is a very good steps which the government has taken, but my point still remains the same, that the quality and the quantity both have to match and they have to come on a common platform, and we can really be a hub of export as far as the defense production is concerned.
Okay, Mr. Gupta, as Brigadier Datta pointed out, referred to timelines, and he referred to MBT and maybe to Tejas also. It took so long. So maybe you can answer since you were with DRDO.
See, I would like to first of all agree with Brigadier Datta on two accounts. Number one, yes, every stakeholder has to work with the spirit of nationalism, nation first. Nation first, import secondary. Secondly, yes, quality and quantity, numbers, rate of production, they have to be increased, they have to be matched with the best in the world. Now coming back to what he has said, yes, from where does the number comes? Number comes from the orders, supply orders. 2 decades and only 124 Arjun MED tanks have been purchased. Why MOD is delaying the orders? All right, just imagine what will happen if Indica, Tatas were told that, okay, you have to make only 100 cars, no more. Could you see today a good car? It will never come. Any industrially produced items, there is certain minimum order quantity which is required to stabilize the production. I would say, I have no hesitation in saying there is somebody sitting at decision-making level who is sabotaging this process. 2 decades, only 124 tanks, which we had manufactured long ago. They were lying, rotting, and they were not being taken. DRDO was given a requirement. The specifications required the tank to be heavier. It had to accommodate 4 soldiers. If DRDO is given a requirement for 4-soldier tank, why a 3-soldier T-90 was imported? Is there any answer to that? You give certain set of requirement to DRDO and import something else. What is this? Now, because if I go on listing all other matters, it will require a whole day. But matter of fact is that after rejecting Arjun tank, when the comparative trials are had side by side, it was proven beyond doubt that Arjun tank is far, far superior to T-90. But then how many supply orders we are placing for T-90? Hundreds and hundreds. We have almost 1,000 tanks now. And whatever supply order was given to 124, they were manufactured by our ordnance factory within a matter of 3 to 4 years. And then there was no taker. So does the industry work this way? No industry will flourish this way. Same is the case with Tejas aircraft. The first flight took place in 2001. Till date, there is a supply order of only 20 plus 20, that is 40 aircraft. 83 aircraft order, we are listening for almost 1 decade. Where is a signed order? Now, if a system takes 1 decade to sign the document, supply order, and you expect the HAL to manufacture at a fantastic rate, go on making for whom? After, suppose the HAL sets up a facility for assembling or producing 20 aircraft per year. 40 aircraft are produced in 2 years. Now, what do they do with the manpower? What do they do with the infrastructure? Tomorrow, our own another setup in the government will question them that you have wasted government money. When there was no supply order, why did you set up so much facility? So that is the reason slow production rate, and that is the reason of quality. If the quality is wrong because of the design, well, it has been tested for so many years. Whether it is the INSAS rifle, more than 1 million INSAS rifles have been inducted, out of which a few hundred, maybe a few thousand have given some quality problem. So definitely it is a problem of manufacturing. But then tell me, what was the reason, what was the logic for keeping the private sector industries out of the purview of manufacturing the small arms, or for that matter, any defense system? It never happens in any other country. What is the reason that we can depend on private sector industries of foreign countries over which we have no control at all? But we don't trust our own private industries. 2001, 1947 to 2001, private sector was banned into entering the defense sector. What is it? Why afterward? Can anybody give me a logic behind it? So the reason is, unless you allow private sector to develop, compete other. Today we are one of the biggest manufacturers of automobiles in the world. Why? Because there is competition. Private sector has come up. Ancillary industries have come up. There is demand, there is production, the things are flourishing. But in case of Arjun tank or Tejas aircraft, there is no demand. You can't export. Till recently, exports were banned. Our own user is not giving us the supply orders. So from where the industry will progress? From where the quality will come? From where the number will come?
So, Mr. Gupta, you have raised very good points, and I will ask the same question, refer these points rather to Brigadier Datta. Mr. Gupta talked about apathy in the government and taking so long and not giving proper orders and other issues. These are, I think, valid points. So, how do you comment on that?
Yeah, I agree with you. You see, what happens is, in most of the cases, the government is not able to take decision. Like if you see the defense minister, you have a separate defense minister, defense minister for defense production. And we have never carried out any kind of, work audit that how much time does it take for a file or a contract to get fructified. I mean, we have not been able to, tap the markets which are there around us. So the Babudam also has to be questioned. They have to be held accountable, because you cannot blame the soldier. If you see, his aim is, or his main job is to give the qualitative requirements that yes, I want a weapon system with these qualitative requirements. So it has to work backwards. So the Ministry of Defense has to take all these steps, and they have to, telescope the timelines. And one very valid point which Mr. Gupta has brought out is, and I endorse my views on that, is the private players. I find, you see, they are equally nationalist people. They are equally honest, and their integrity level is high. We should not keep them away. And, in 90s, we had Defense Expo. We have had, defense corridors and, what have you. But unfortunately, we don't follow them up. Today, when the fire is on, it is like that pressure cooker technology. When the base is at fire, now everybody is whistling. So these things should have been thought. Like if you take the case of MBT, the main battle tank, You see, we haven't had a armored warfare after 1971. The armor has never been utilized or employed.
Yeah.
We could have taken those 30, 40 years, to develop whatever technical snags or glitches the equipment had. And we should have been one of the major exporters. And there is huge demand in the Gulf and in various other countries. So, I mean, we have to take a holistic view. We have to have a very strategic outlook.
And Brigadier, Mr. Gupta also raised some sensational point. He says that the DRDO and other domestic manufacturers are giving different parameters for an equipment, and when you go for imports, you have different parameters for imports. So I think that's changing goalposts, isn't it?
That is also there, because and then you see what happens is the army is only factored in when you ask for the qualitative requirements and when the equipment is put to the test. So if you are given, okay, these are three equipment which are there, which you consider the best out of these three. So when the trials are carried out on that equipment, the person who's carrying out the trial, he will endorse his views. Okay, A is better, B is better, or C is best out of it. And sometimes there is a ulterior motive where only such equipment are fielded ex import, which will be inferior to the equipment which we are manufacturing it. So what we have to do is this kind of the manipulative ways or the kind of ulterior motives or the colored vision should not be given when the equipment is being put on a test bed. And it should be a fair game, it should be a fair trial, and I am sure our equipment is going to come up better. And if we get a right pet to our DRDOs and to our various industrial hubs, I am sure we are going to produce the best of the equipment. You must have seen in 65, 71 war, in Kargil operations, we had only Centurion tanks, and they had Patton tanks, and 10 regiments were given by America to Pakistan. Still we repulse the enemy. So it is the men behind the machine which matters. And I am sure even if our own equipment it requires some kind of technical validation, we should promote our own production. And in the days to come, because warfare is not a everyday phenomena, or it is not a yearly event, or it is not a thing which is to be repeated every
Brigadier Datta, we are only few minutes left now. I want to ask one last question to both of you. First to you, how significant is this announcement when we have a face-off? I mean, Kargil, our big neighbor China is staying there. So how significant is that?
It is a good thing, provided we stick to it, provided we follow it in letter and spirit. And if it is only a political statement or a gimmick, then I'm sure it will also gather dust, and we will move on with something else in life.
So same question to Mr. Gupta, particularly if we consider timelines.
See, in terms of timeline, if the supply orders are there, things will be produced, there is no doubt about it. As far as the list is concerned, as such, in this present form, I don't see any merit in it. Until now, unless government, there are more questions to be answered rather than whatever is visible here. So unless these clarifications are thought, I have raised many questions. Like, for example, that are we going to allow the import in huge numbers about, say, item your BVR, Astra. It is named Astra. Does it mean that all other kind of BVR are allowed? Or for that matter, till 2023, Astra-like BVRs will be imported in huge quantity? These are many questions which have to be answered and clarified by the government before we can say that yes, there is some hope in it. Otherwise, till such time, it is simply a piece of paper.
So there are still so many questions on the announcement. I hope the government will come clean and maybe clarify all those things. Thank you both of you for participating in this debate, sir.
Thank you very much.
This is all in the agenda today. Thanks for watching. I will be back with another important topic tomorrow. Till then, goodbye.